Hi, my name's Blake, and I've chose to do my presentation on plastics, and more specifically hemp plastics, and why we should be using those as a replacement to regular everyday plastics. So first, a little bit of history on plastics. The first synthetic polymer was made in 1869 by John Wesley Hyatt, and he came up with this with an inspiration by a New York firm who offered $10,000 for anyone who could provide a substitute for ivory, because billiards were very popular in this day and age. And originally, these synthetic polymers were thought to be an environmental savior for elephants and turtles. And the first fully synthetic plastic was then made in 1907 by Leo Baekeland. And then moving into World War II, we saw a major expansion in the plastic industry with the invention of nylon and plexiglass. It was a perfect time for plastics to come into use. They were sturdy, cheap, and just a better alternative to what they were previously using. However, after the war, this plastic craze didn't last very long. 1960s were the first time that we saw plastic pollution in the ocean, and that kind of started kind of the first wave of environmental activism and in trying to restore these oceans that we're still trying to rectify the damage done till this day. So the pollution of plastic, it's found in oceans all over the world, and there's ocean-based pollution and land-based pollution. The land-based is the more prevalent one. Single-use plastics are probably the biggest contributor to this plastic pollution. And plastic pollution in the ocean accounts for about 60 to 80% of what has been polluting the ocean. This affects marine life in a number of ways, a lot by killing all of the diverse species in the ocean through different ways: suffocation, entanglement, choking, and ghost fishing. Ghost fishing seems to be one of the most prevalent ones in destroying ocean life, and that's just when fishing gear is no longer used, just gets thrown overboard, and anything that kind of ends up in that fishing gear is killed. So the environmental impact of this, it's degrading the marine life diversity, obviously. It also alters the availability of oxygen and light, as it blocks some of those light rays and kind of destroys habitats, and just moves them around. It alters the temperature and water movement, and it's one of the leading destructors of coral reef habitats, and that's caused by fishing lines, nets, anything that kind of really gets into that coral life and just kind of destroys it, and things get caught on nets and plastic falls onto it and it just destroys it. So now we're going to get into a little bit of hemp. Just a background on hemp: it's a strain of cannabis, also commonly called industrial hemp, and for it to qualify as industrial hemp, it has to have a lower than 0.3 THC content. And when it is qualified as industrial hemp, it's not used for the recreational uses of the drug cannabis. It's more for use of fabrics, plastics, foods. Hemp seeds have actually been called one of the healthiest superfoods ever. And the plant's been used for centuries by different cultures for different uses, whether it's medicinal uses, industrial uses, or recreational uses. In the USA, industrial hemp was banned in the 1970s, um, and then was just recently legalized for cultivation in 2018, which is pretty exciting. So hemp contains 65 to 75% of cellulose, which is fairly high for a plant. And so to convert that into plastic, you're just using that cellulose and extracting it to make cellophane rayon or celluloid. And these can create different molds and can be turned into a number of different products derived from natural substances. Um, Basically, just a great way to move away from um, petroleum based plastics and into new or natural alternatives that won't cause so much destruction. Um, so you can also make these polylactic polyesters that can be reinforced with hemp fibers, which can create 100% biocomposite. And a biocomposite is just a composite material formed by a matrix or resin and then reinforced with natural fibers. Um, Hemp reinforced composite with biopolyhydroxybutyrate was created at Stanford University, and that's just basically it's a polymer derived from bacteria, which would also make it a natural occurring polymer, and then just reinforced with hemp fibers to create the strength that it needs. And we just got a short little video here. There's that video. And so the uses of hemp plastic range from food, or from hemp plastic range from construction materials, packaging, furniture, musical instruments, boats, car panels, shopping bags, straws, water bottles, As the video mentioned, Henry Ford, when he was designing vehicles, he created a vehicle completely made from hemp plastics, and then it also, instead of running on petroleum-based gas products, it ran strictly on hemp ethanol. So it was a completely environmentally friendly vehicle, which can be done, and I don't understand why it hasn't gone forward and people haven't created this in this day and age when we really need to start looking at different ways to be able to transport ourselves and products. The benefits of hemp plastic: it's non-toxic, pesticide-free, recyclable, biodegradable, and it's much stronger than the plastics that we are so used to in this day and age. As you can see from the picture here, this water bottle made from hemp plastics has completely biodegraded in 80 days, so just under 3 months, whereas traditional plastics can take upwards of 400 years to fully degrade. So why choose hemp? There's really no need for the use of common petroleum-based plastics anymore. We've come to a time and age where pollution has become a global issue, and it really needs to be addressed before more damage is done to our oceans, our atmosphere, and our land. We have the technology to be able to produce 100% plant-derived plastics that are non-toxic, stronger, and biodegradable. We also have the technology to be able to produce fuel that's 100% plant-derived. So if we continue using these petroleum-based products, we will see the destruction of our planet. And it's a really simple solution to just switch over to using plant-derived polymers or just hemp fibers to reinforce different things, and it will not further harm our environment. Thanks for listening.